So obviously, out of trying to see what was going on, I looked through the fence and I just saw my neighbor totally nude walking around with his partner. Keep in mind, I do have kids. I do have small kids. In no way, shape, or form is seeing two adult figures naked is fine for a kid. That's my biggest issue right now. He is stating that he does have his there's a 8 feet fence that's like there, but at the same time, it is a 2-story house. That fence won't cover everything. My kids' rooms are upstairs, so even though this fence doesn't really do much for it when the kids are also upstairs. He mentioned it's a one-time thing, but at this point, I have kids that I have to look out for. I'm a mom. I have to be doing what's best for my kids. At the end of the day, my kids are before myself. So I just want to have them grow up in an atmosphere that is safe for them. So they've been inside the whole time. They're not able to enjoy their summer. They're not able to enjoy this backyard that they were so excited for. So they're just locked in, and I don't think it's fair at all. He is mentioning that there's no way that I had or no rights to go look through the fence, but at the same time, like I mentioned, I do have kids. I'm not sure if he has kids, doesn't have kids, none of my concern at the end of the day. But at the end of the day, I do have my 2 kids I have to look out for. So it's anger, it's being upset. It's just I did try to approach him the next day. He's stating that I was all crazy. I don't know how he took it. I simply went over with my husband and tried to speak to him. But once we approached him, he just got in his car, slammed the door, and he left. So not even a good morning, not even anything was like said at all. So that just, I'm new to the community. I want to go ahead and at least speak to my neighbor, but the fact that when I approached him, he just decided to throw a little tantrum and then rush into his car, slam the door, and leave. It just it's not a good experience, and it doesn't make me feel comfortable in this neighborhood.
I understand your feelings. But one thing I do want to touch on, though, you keep saying that you don't care about understanding your neighbor. You don't care about what your neighbor. I want to understand why is that? Because in order to solve this issue, both of you guys are going to need to come together, have some kind of understanding of each other, and compromise, collaborate. That was.
And I think a big thing was building that understanding, so then we can try to get you guys to respect and trust each other. Because, I mean, if you guys aren't respecting or trusting each other, I don't see this mediation moving forward. So I would try to keep an open mind about just trying to understand your neighbor a little bit more, because that is going to help us move forward. And I also did want to say that all your feelings are super valid, and I totally understand where you're coming from. It's probably very hard, seeing that for yourself and then just trying to protect your kids. I totally get that. And then I also just wanted to ask you, so that Party 2 mentioned something about a sign in your front yard. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, so my husband and I decided on the sign. Just because, like I mentioned, we did try to go speak to him.
What does the sign say?
It says no nudity, children at play.
Okay.
So we decided to put the sign because what other form of communication do we have? We did try to approach him once. We got received this way, so obviously we can't approach this person without them blowing up.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't going to put myself in a situation where I was going to go over again, and who knows what he would have done. So I just decided to put the sign, my husband and I, to see if one way or another that would work for him. Kind of understand, there are kids in the house. It's like I mentioned, no way that just being naked in your backyard is okay. Mostly when, there's kids right next door.
Definitely understand where you're coming from. Maybe it might have set off Party 2 in the wrong way, but I mean, you felt that was the best way to communicate with him. But I mean, obviously there's always better ways to communicate, but it's already happened. And how do you feel about putting the sign up? What did you get out of it other than trying to communicate?
Being completely honest, I didn't get much out of it. It was just my plan B. I was desperate. I didn't know what else to do. Like I was mentioning, my husband and I go to work. We come back to our kids. Their grandma was with them the whole day at home. So it's how else are we gonna approach, our neighbor? There's no other way for us to approach the neighbor. Yeah, maybe the sign wasn't the best approach to have towards it. But at that point, was your mother, which he wouldn't understand. You have to do what's best for your kids.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, your kids depend on you, and you want them to grow up with, you know, good morals and respect and all these values that we hold really uptight at home. So he wouldn't understand what that is like because he doesn't have his own kids, I'm assuming. So as a mother, of course my kids are first. Of course I'm going to do whatever to protect them.
So just quick, so putting up the sign, would you say was more of it was an actual like bridge to communicate, or was it just because you were angry at the interaction you guys had that morning that it was just kind of you give back?
It was more like a desperate action. It was like just
because what I'm hearing from you is that you felt disrespected and you felt disrespected as well. And what I'm seeing is that it just keep going back. It's going back and forth, which we all come to understanding that that's honestly not solving anything because we're not communicating. We're just hurting each other at this point. So
I agree with that.
So that's what we're saying. You should understand. Yeah.
I want to say I think another issue that we have here that we need to start working on is try to build your guys' communication, because it feels like there's just like a very big gap, you know, like I feel like you put out that sign as like one of the last things you could have done, you know, because I don't know how else you would have tried to communicate. So I mean, yeah, so let's try to build that understanding of each other and try to just like efficiently get you guys to communicate in like professional like manner terms, you know. Do you want to elaborate a little bit about how you guys communicate? Or?
Yeah, I mean, if you notice, we haven't communicated in this session, we haven't communicated normally without yelling or fighting, right?
Yeah.
But I think that a lot of it, what gets me is like the assumptions that I don't have empathy toward children, or, you know, just because I'm not a mom, right? But I do have young cousins, I have family members that are young, so I know how to be and when to be that certain way. Like I wouldn't be walking around nude in front of children, of course. So I just think that another thing is just the assumptions based off the lack of communication and knowledge of each other is important. But again, she and I have never had a conversation. Like maybe we're just maybe we're just two headstrong people, and so like, we just never have talked normally. But I think that if we do talk, I think it would help a lot moving forward.
So, can we reach an understanding that just building that communication is probably like key for the future for you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah? Would you guys be open to possibly like sharing each other's numbers at the end of the session?
I don't know about that yet. I still have all this resentment towards him.
Also,
so.
remember that both of you have the right to call a caucus, which is if you guys don't feel comfortable speaking in front of each other, or if something is too much for the other one to handle, feel free to call a caucus, and we can escort one of you guys out, and we can listen to that party, and then decide how to integrate that back into the party, back into the group discussion. Okay.
Awesome. All right. So just moving forward with communication in this issue, I kind of want to focus on. I want to focus on like where all this anger is coming from and like what we can do with it. So you haven't spoken a little bit, so let's maybe just like elaborate on just how you're feeling about the whole situation and like what you want to get out of the session in a way.
Okay. I guess I just want to be cordial with my neighbor. And me and my significant other were thinking about adopting eventually, so that does come into play. Like we do think about children. We're not just these savages running around in the backyard naked. But I think that a lot of the anger again is just feeling like I can't have a normal conversation with this person. Maybe because we're from two totally different worlds. Like she has her husband and her kids, and she has her values, and me and my significant other, like we're just young and we're just having fun, and we like to party. So I think maybe that's part of it as well. But I just don't want the neighbors turning against me and my family because like we're just living our lives back there and we're not harming anyone. Maybe we could end the parties a little earlier. I mean, because we'd be out there dancing all night. But I mean, she has to also talk to me, and like we have to also meet in the middle. It can't be me just saying I'm gonna fix this, I'm gonna do this, you know. So I think I would just want more. I want your help with having her understand me, and so that we could talk better without having mediators there. Talk like normal human beings because I am normal. I just like to go out in my backyard and swim naked sometimes.
Definitely. I feel like everything you said was very, very interesting and very valid. I feel that a lot of what you said is just coming from like the heart. So like I kind of want to allow you to, if you want to, possibly just like give the other party just like a little bit more about yourself, you know, just speak upon who you are, you know. I mean, I think that might help so she can understand you more.
And also, are you willing to listen to this? I know earlier you mentioned that you weren't, but I see that we are making progress. So again, just want to ask, make sure everyone's still comfortable.
I do want to mention too that it will help a lot moving forward, getting to know your neighbor, you know. I feel like this is vital to your relationship with him. And I know things weren't easy and it was very hard with everything going on, you know, and it may have made you feel uncomfortable, but I feel like this may be best for the two of you.
Yeah, that's something I guess I'm willing to hear.
And will you share a little bit about you after?
I'll think about it. I'll take into consideration.
Okay.
I'm definitely willing to hear him out.
Yeah, so
60%.
I grew up in Santa Cruz, a free spirit, hippie, not bothered by the world. We just do what we gotta do, we live our best lives. And then when I came to, I moved to LA, and that's how I got a lot of money through being and influencing people.
Okay, like a YouTuber?
Like a YouTuber, yeah, okay. Like a YouTuber. And so that's how I got all my money, and I was able to build. I came back to the Bay because that's where I was grown and raised. And so I built my patio for me and my significant other. It's just me and my significant other. Like we don't have anything else. We don't like animals or anything. So we wanted to build a patio so that we can invite other people in hopes that other people would come over and not us be exiled from the neighborhood.
So you like to host events, parties?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, the parties you mentioned earlier. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and we don't always drink or anything. Sometimes we don't like alcohol, so we like to just have sober fun. Sorry. Yeah, we like to have sober fun. Sometimes some of my YouTuber friends come over, and we don't do much. We just swim in the backyard, not nude all the time, and we just hang out. It's nothing major or different from us, from that family.
Okay. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Did that help a little bit, getting to understand your neighbor a little bit more? You know, just telling, like, him just explaining like how he grew up and how his life
Not
began?
really. I feel like it's I don't really get to like know him as a person. Yeah, he told me, he said he was, born in Santa Cruz, but that doesn't really.
What would you like to know more about?
Probably, off the top of my head, I can't really think of what I want to know about him, because in reality, there's not much I want to know about him. I just want to get this issue solved,
Like I said, just like the only way this issue is gonna get solved is building that understanding of each other, and maybe it would help a little bit if you want to share. I know you were kind of weary about it, you were hesitant, but I mean, if you like just give a little backstory just like he did, that might help him understand you a little bit more, and then we can move forward with other steps and trying to work and help you guys get through this.
Okay. I mean, if you're mentioning it's gonna help, then
It will.
I guess I'll be willing to share some information. So I recently moved here with my husband and my kids a year ago. Originally we were living in San Diego. Beautiful city there. But we thought it was time for a change. My husband recently got a job here, so we went ahead and moved over here. I have my 2 kids. One's 9 years old and the one's 12. We're a very active family. We love going on hikes. We love, my kids play soccer, so we're always trying to stay active when we're we're really big on values. We're really big on respect. That's why I'm thrown off at the fact that, my neighbor is walking around naked in his backyard. We really hold family up there. So family is a big thing for us. Respect is really big for us. So I just think it's really cool that we're able to move over to San Jose, over to something new. But it's just, we worked really hard just to get this dream house that we really wanted. Just to have like these issues come up, like I'm just trying to enjoy my time here. I'm trying to enjoy my kids. They're not always gonna be this small, eventually they're gonna grow up. So I'm just trying to spend time with them. But that's some information on me.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for sharing. I really appreciate that. Did
Can
that
I
help
answer
you?
to- yeah,
Did that help you
it did
understand her a
help
little
me.
bit? Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to answer to like the respect portion. Like I have respect for everyone.
Oh, I never said you didn't.
Please, please.
Oh, but you kind of alluded
Please
to it.
talk to me, and then
So
she'll
we
talk to
still
me.
can't
Okay.
talk here clearly.
We're getting there. Don't
We're
worry.
getting there, yeah.
We're getting
But
It's
I
gonna
do
take
respect
time.
everyone. It is gonna take time, but I think we just come from 2 totally different walks of life
Mhm.
Right.
too. But my significant other likes to play soccer too, so that's something that's really cool. I know a lot about soccer, and so I think I just want, as a free spirit, I always want to relate to people, and I want people to understand me, and I want to understand people. So I'm willing to try to understand her more too.
Definitely.
So that's why I'm bringing up the soccer thing.
I think that's a big step. I mean, I think that's awesome. What do you think about that?
That's interesting.
That could give you guys something to talk about. Soccer. That's a little common interest, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
All right. So let's kind of move towards talking about like the issue itself. We know a little bit more about each other. You guys have something in common. So let's like talk about the fence. So like these holes in the fence, is that where the issue is coming from, or like do you think like that could be like solved by like fixing the fence, or how do you want to go about that?
Yeah, we can fix the fence. That